Direction, choose your own path.
You know, this is the home of We Major, Me Frosty, Unfamous, and the restricted clothing brands. Let's get it.
The message is always in the cloth, the colors, the designs, the fit. Basic. Pay attention. Stay alert. And remember, choose your own path.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing? How you doing today, Hamp?
I'm doing my best. How about yourself? Check.
Are we up already?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good today.
Indeed. I can dig it. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Indeed. What's today? Tuesday?
Yes, it is.
I like it.
Shit like that.
Give me 1 second. I just gotta acknowledge the chat if you don't mind. I got Mr. JTK in the building. Salute. Rock Solid in the building. Salute. GA. Almond Lionel Suggs. Snuggles. I wasn't even live.
Put him in the fucking bed. Get him out of here. Come on.
Shout out to Snuggles. Consistent at least. Great T was good. Mel, I see you. Black America. Indeed. You know what I mean? Jeremiah in the building. Salute. Dario. Lunchtime gang. Indeed. Get Mo, I see you. Erica's Corner. Victor Olympics. Bella Rings. I like it. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Shout out to Skinny Boy, Music Man, pay attention. CC, good morning. Sis, what's going on? Miss Valerie, I see you. I'm trying to get to everybody, but I'm not going to make it. Miss Crimson Cure, I'm humbled by your presence today.
No need to be. I'm just me.
Indeed.
I'm just me.
But we respect the grind, you know.
I appreciate that.
I had a manager one day, you know, and I used to be like, oh, it's just a day in the life, you know. And he'd be like, no. When somebody gives you the compliments, you take them because you earned them.
Well, I appreciate it.
Indeed. So I wanted to ask, how'd you get started? Like, how'd you get on this path, this journey to, it's almost like correction for the women, you know, around you, so to speak?
Oh, man. I've been in this space a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I first started coming. I'm gonna keep it real cute and real short.
All right.
Because it's part of Manosphere history. I don't feel like getting into it.
Okay.
But I started out, for those who have been here as long as me or longer than me, started out with BGS for women. And I started coming to those shows. We would have them on Friday night. And I started coming around just because I wanted the conversation seemed interesting. It was a group of Black men. Mm-hmm. They seemed like they were speaking intellectually, you know, and that was fine. And he had carved out a small space for women to come.
Okay.
And so I had started listening, and then eventually I started participating. That was like 2017. Okay. Like mid 2017, something like that. Then that led me to Angry Man. Okay. So around about 2018, I started kicking it real hard with Angry Man, that whole crew. If it was a time to be alive, if you was there, you was there. And so I started getting a lot of encouragement to do my own channel because I had been participating on the women's side.
Sure.
Every once and again participate with some of the men conversation, but this was back where there wasn't a women in this space.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You could count the women on one hand in this space that was consistently here, and there were no female content creators.
Okay. Okay.
They participated in conversation, but not creating content.
Yeah, on their own. Okay.
And so this was a time where the men here were they were vetting women hard. Like you couldn't even participate if you was like half a, you know what I'm saying? Like if they didn't like what you was talking about, you could be. So eventually I started doing my own channel at the encouragement of Angry Man, BGS, and a couple of other ones, heavyweights pretty much in the space. And so they really supported my initial channel, right?
Okay.
And my initial channel, it was just Kendra D. Right? It wasn't Crimson Cure. I wasn't Crimson Cure.
Okay.
It was just Kendra D, and I was just getting on there. At first, it was just videos. I wasn't doing a live streams. And I was just sharing my thoughts. I wasn't even on camera. I was just sharing my thoughts.
Okay.
And so I've been here since there was no money to be made talking about any of this stuff. Right. So it wasn't money or the bag. There was no bag.
Yeah.
You were just here for the sake of being here, for the love of being here. If you know what I'm saying, appreciated what was going on and what was taking place.
Okay.
So that eventually evolved. And I got one really good piece of advice for starting my channel. And I got it from Angry Man. And he told me, he said, don't start your channel. He said, start your channel with you. You run your show. Because if a channel can run on the strength of you, you know, you got what it takes to run a channel.
Yeah.
Can't run if they don't tune in to see you, it's problematic.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, you know what? I took that and ran with it. And it's been paying off ever since because my content depends on me, what I do, what I don't do, things of that nature. So fast forward, I eventually rebranded myself into Crimson Cure.
Okay.
And the elevation has just been going up. The name Red Cure, Crimson was referring to the idea of the red pill.
Okay.
And
all
it
right.
being a cure for what ails us. So that's why I came up with Crimson Cure.
Yeah. Okay. I was just about to ask too, you know. So that definitely clarifies. That's dope. I appreciate it. All right, I got that. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. And the reason why it was so edifying for me, and I would say a good portion of the audience, is because I just got started, you know. And outside I DJ, and so I was able to build, like, I'm like, hey guys, I'm doing this now, come over here, you know. But generally speaking, they're not in this space, so that's quite edifying for us, so we appreciate it.
No problem.
Let me make sure I don't get too far behind. Uncle Rick was good. He said, DJ Hampton, an incomparable Crimson Cure. Peace. Mr. Payne, how are you with the $10? He says, get ready for a great conversation. Indeed. Lucky was good. She says, Queen Kendra. Because I saw this picture and I was interested to get your thoughts on it. Let me show you this. So it says, a man is not supposed to cook, wash dishes, or wash his clothes if he has a woman! Exclamation point. What's your thoughts on this? Is this hyperbole or does she have a point?
There's a point. I don't know that there's absolute because I'm married twice now.
Okay.
First husband passed away. I'm married currently.
God bless.
They don't do this stuff. My husband doesn't cook. He does, but he's been known to go in there and wash a dish. If I'm busy or indisposed, I can't do it right now. It needs to be done right now. I can't do it right now. Okay. He's not opposed to going in there and busting a sud, you know, or things of that nature. He's not opposed to helping me clean up if I have to. He just did it. Like had a hair appointment, had to go, had to hurry up. get my house together. He helped me. He was like, okay, I'm gonna help you get the house together. I mean, so he's in the house too. And I always thank him, oh, thank you, baby. He's like, I live here. So,
Okay.
so why wouldn't I help you? So my take on that has a little bit more nuance and balance to it. Is should he consistently always be cooking, cleaning, washing dishes, vacuuming, and clean up the house? No, not if you there. Because why are you there? That is a part of your wifely duties. Like you are supposed to do that because you're managing the home. The wife is the manager of the home. If he's managing all the stuff outside, so you don't have to worry about that, then you manage the stuff inside, so he doesn't have to worry about that. If every once and again he pitch in and he, that's fine.
Yeah, understood. And I think there's an emphasis on the key word, like he's helping you. So as you just stated, those are your duties and responsibilities. But when he pitches in, you usually say thank you.
Yeah, I say thank you all the time.
Now,
thank you,
baby. Indeed. Now, what if he's picking up his own clothes? Do you thank him for that?
Yeah, because if he wasn't picking up his own clothes, who picking them up?
You.
Shit like that.
Indeed. Do you find that in today's age that would be a slightly hard pill for people to swallow?
Everything that defines what women's supposed to do other than cater to themselves is a hard pill to swallow.
You said everything. You mean everything?
Yeah. They don't even want to define what makes you a wife and a woman. So everything.
If you had to define it, what would it be?
Women are, first of all, let's clear up the biology. If you have a XX chromosome, I don't care what you put on the outside, what you take off, what you mutilate, what you attach, what you detach. Wow. You are a female. I don't care if you have children, can't have kids. If you rocking, look me in my. If you rocking a double X chromosome, you are a woman. Okay,
Shit like that.
Indeed. Okay, that's clear. I agree.
That's from the biological standpoint.
Indeed.
Now they try to change that culturally. Into women don't have a definition. There's nothing that actually defines it. What ended up happening was this, though. The advent of feminism actually took away what femininity was by saying it was antiquated, it was old school, it was slavery, it was oppressive. But then they turned women into fake men. So everything that a woman do valuable is what men do. She go out work, she go out make money, she go out and get a degree, she go out and get education, she go out and buy things, she go out and she can afford things. These are all the things that men have been using to measure themselves and whether or not they've been successful or valuable or things of that nature. Women had a different set of things. So when we start defining what makes a woman, I always say for people to think of it internal and external.
Okay.
So men are more external. Men are kinetic energy. Men move. Women are potential energy. We're more passive. We wait for the kinetic energy to hit us so that we can move. And this is true even on a biological scale because a sperm is locomotive. Is it not? It moves on its own. Eggs wait for sperm. It doesn't do anything, but it gets pushed out of the ovary, it gets pushed down the fallopian tube, it gets pushed into the uterus where it waits. And it waits for that sperm that's got the spark of life in it, that's already on the move on its own. It's kinetic. Once it hit that egg, that's when the egg begins to be something other than potential energy. It turns into kinetic energy and it begins to grow. So if that's true, even on a cellular level, right? Women are more, I'm not going to say passive all the time. We're potential.
Okay.
We wait. And we're waiting on the kinetic energy of men. I'm going to land the plane. I know you do the plane. But I'm long-winded. So I know
you're good. We tuned in. You good.
Right. So if we're that on a biological sense, we're also that on a psychological sense. We're also that way in our interplay with each other, no matter what men and women say or how the culture changed and what we do and what we don't do. That baseline never actually changes.
Okay. Yeah.
It never changes.
Yeah. What would you say about? Well, let me let that marinate. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. That's good. There was one argument I heard in terms of they said that the egg selects the sperm. Is there any truth to that? Have you heard that before?
Wow.
I digress. And yeah, sperm make decisions and everything. They think, they speed up, they slow down, they change their swim motion just to get to the goal. Yeah, 100%.
It's some sperm that is not designed to penetrate that egg. It's designed to make way for the other sperms that can't.
Shit like that.
See?
Shit like that.
I've heard this argument in terms of our duties and responsibilities. There's a lot of pushback when it comes to the volume of the work. So for instance, like women will say, well, they have to cook and clean every day. You may never have to protect the house. Or if they come to, you only cut the grass once a week or every 2 weeks, depending on where you live. What do you say to that about the volume? Does that have any credence?
I'm trying to get myself
All
here. It's called work.
Mm-hmm.
It's called work.
Mm-hmm.
What we doing if we ain't working? Because you working somewhere. In some aspect of your life, there's work. There's work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's in the house, out the house, for yourself, for somebody else, there's always a work to do. The volume of work. There's a little bit more when you're raising kids. I don't have biological children, but I raised my siblings from knee babies.
Sure.
Arm babies,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So they was in my house. And I had to clean up, I had to teach, I had to homeschool, I had to cook, I had to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? The only part of motherhood I didn't do was the pregnancy and the birth part.
I got you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there was more to do. Of course, you got to keep things straight, and all that kind of stuff. But it's that question is funny to me because it's work. I don't even measure it in terms of volume, because if you keep in your house clean, how long is it really taking you to clean it up? How nasty is it, baby? Are we nasty, beloved? Cooking take about an hour. Cooking take about an hour. If you got a family, because if you got a family, you ain't making no piece by piece meals. Listen, we getting chili. We getting a pot of greens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we getting something that's spread. So, okay, we baking up something so everybody can eat that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so we not doing no, everybody get a filet mignon tonight. We are all going to eat this chili mac now.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? And then that's what it is. So it don't take that long. It takes is a system. It takes order to be able to run the house efficiently. What makes it more work than what it needs to be is when there is no order to it.
Yeah.
It's happening haphazardly and chaotically. You might clean up here, you running here and there, you know what I'm saying? There's no order to it. So once some kind of order is being put to your home, we doing this at this block of time. We doing this at this block of time. We doing this at this block of time. It may not be perfect strictly on the time schedule, but there is a schedule that you can refer back to and keep to. Even if what's going on today spins a little bit off that schedule, you can come back.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
That makes sense. The organization is key. My wife and I, we have this back and forth. I wouldn't say back and forth, but let's say I get up with the kids, right? When they wake up first, let's say I get up first. It's quiet. I go to one room, then the next room, then the next room, in terms of just the order, but they also have a higher level of discipline when I'm around. There's not a lot of crying per se, etc. Is that just expected? Like just because the man's present, so to speak, or you think women can get ahead of that too?
The man's presence in the home with his children is paramount.
Yeah.
And it's paramount because of the disciplinary factor.
Mm-hmm.
women can discipline their children, but it don't feel the same as when men discipline their children.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
When they're very small, it's kind of can be the same thing because
Mm-hmm.
mama can carry a mama voice and get the kid together.
Yeah.
But even when you're talking about toddlers, right? The
Mm-hmm.
mama voice and the daddy voice is something different because see, mama might have to yell that out 3-4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy come in the room, just look at you.
Yeah, 100%.
What your mama say?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? See, if you can you can hear. What your mama say?
Uh-huh.
And he may not even have to say that. Because the kids know what they're doing. Like they try to play mama.
Yeah.
Because mama will be, come on now. You know, she'll give you chance after chance before she bring the hammer down to you. And that's just most women that I've seen. Most moms.
Sure.
So
Yeah. Okay.
Shit like that.
Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Shout out to my brother Hank with the $5. Shout out to Hank for having a beautiful soul like the Crimson Cure on the panel today. Indeed. Marcus Evans with the $5. Shout out to my brother Hamp and the Lioness Crimson Cure. Oh, sir, was popping, my brother with the $5. Much respect, Hamp. Peace and blessings, sister Kendra. Shiesty Bum with the $2. I feel like only men follow her. It's giving mammy. Tim Smooth with the $5. What up, DJ Hamp and Miss Crimson Cure? Skinny Boy was popping with the $2. I feel shaking my head in quote unquote shaking my head. Lazy people don't research. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. It helps the channel the most. So when I hear you use the term boneyard, right? I've heard it, but I was trying to find it, but then I said no. I want to get the definition, so to speak, firsthand. But when I heard it, this is what popped into my head. I did a little bit of due diligence. I asked around a little bit, but this is what popped into my head right here.
that's exactly the boneyard. That's what I'm referring to. That's what I'm referring to, where the hyenas stay.
Damn. So for the people that unfortunately are blind and didn't see that video, can you articulate it out for us?
Okay. So the analogy of the hyena and lioness, once again, this credit goes to AM.
Okay.
A few years ago, he actually did a whole thing where he was like, you know what? The Black community operates like a hyena clan.
Okay.
And because they are matriarchal. All the females in a hyena clan are ranked above all the males of the hyena clan. Okay.
Yes.
And there's none higher than the matriarch. They even have pseudo phalluses, right? And everything. They look like the males.
Oh, okay.
The males are scrawny because the females don't feed them. After a certain point, after they've been cubs and they grow up a little bit, the hyena mothers do not feed the males anymore. They feed females.
Yeah.
And the males get the scraps and bones and this and that. Okay. And they're typically abused in a hyena clan. And they are used as fodder. So if the hyena clan got a fight, they send the males out to die first, and then the females, and then the only other function that the males have is mating.
Okay.
But other than that, hyena clans run female led, and it is female based. All right. So, and he was like, now, if you're not a part of that, if you're not a part of that mindset, then you're a part of the lions, the lion pride.
Okay.
So lion prides are patriarchal, of course. The male lion runs the female lions, and it runs like a well-oiled machine. The lionesses hunt, they take care of the cubs. The alpha male lion protects, and so he makes sure that the pride is safe, and he makes sure that they're cared for, right? And lions and hyenas are mortal enemies.
Yes.
They always fight.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get along at all because their way of living is so incredibly diametrically opposed to one another that they don't get along ever in the wild.
Okay.
So that was the initial analogy, right? Mm-hmm. So I took that and I expanded on that concept.
Okay.
Okay. So when I say hyenas, I'm not referring to Black women in general.
I got
I'm
you.
specifically referring to women in general, not even just Black, but women in general that have this feminist, gynocentric women on top, misandrous mindset. And they
Okay.
live their life like that, and they think like that. They think like a hyena. They run their life like a hyena's clan. They run their families like that. You've
Okay.
seen plenty of families that was matriarchal and all the women run it.
Mhm.
That's a hyena clan.
Damn.
Okay. And the Boneyard is
Wow.
simply the reference of the Lion King. That's where they stay because they
Okay.
can't be on Pride Rock with the lions. They're
Okay.
in a whole different place.
Okay. So when I initially heard Boneyard, I was also thinking when I heard that get a dog, die alone type of sentiment.
Mhm.
You know, just like you kind of go to that place and then that's where you're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
stay.
That's how you put
Yeah,
together.
initially, but I understand you saying just that reference is from the elephant graveyard, so to speak. Okay, when I say that, does that resonate at all, or is that something totally separate?
That's a little bit separate.
Okay.
Kevin Samuels popularized that concept, get a dog, die alone. So that wasn't really tied to even the whole analogy
Okay.
of lions and
Totally separate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
How does one damn? So are they born boneyard or are they bred boneyard?
And see, I've actually said that they was born. I do believe lionesses are born.
Okay.
Lionesses are born. And we can be born in the boneyard. I was
Yeah.
born in the boneyard.
And what would the boneyard look like to be born
It's
into?
our culture.
Okay.
It's today. It's
Yeah.
born among family members and among people who hold that mindset.
Okay.
The differentiation is that lots of times as a lion or a lioness, since we're using the terminology,
Yep.
just that don't sit right with them. They're always somewhat outcast in some way because they don't really go with that. The mindset, like the women don't really go with the mindset. It was always weird to me how the women would get together and trash the men that they was married to. And the men that they having kids. That was always weird to me, even as a young girl. Like, why you don't like him? And if you don't like him, why you here? Why you doing him? Why not just leave? If you don't, why he gotta be on that? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
If you don't like the guy, he ain't no good. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't get it. So it was weird.
Damn. So when you say fight your way out the boneyard, so let me ask. So two-part, I guess, right? How did you do it? I would assume people can duplicate it, right? What you did to an extent. And then how do you avoid the boneyard, so to speak, or women, I would say?
I don't know that you can avoid it. Most of us are born inside of it.
Damn. Or
now,
grow out of it, I guess?
Enough to not have been born inside of it, you need to avoid it.
What's the construct look like? Like, what is a typical boneyard situation?
It's life. It's the way that the life is led. It's the way the family is structured. It's the way that the concepts get passed down. Because you could argue to say a hyena is made. She's made.
Yeah.
If you have a mother, if you're a girl, let's say you're a little Black girl.
Sure.
And you have a mom, and your mother is always mean to the men or your dad.
You're gonna duplicate.
You're probably gonna, and she tells you, because see, sometimes our mothers are quite inappropriate with us, and they'll tell us what we don't need to know as kids, right? And they'll divulge to us how much she can't stand your dad, and how much he's a this and he's a that, and he did this and he did that. Now, in a girl's mind, her mother is her mother. She doesn't look at her mother as the ops.
Yeah.
Her mom is her mom.
Yeah.
And whatever her mother says is gonna be true. Okay. And as a girl, we look for the acceptance of other females socially. That's key. Girls do not like to be ostracized from other girls in their group. So girls don't like to be ostracized by the women of their families.
Yeah.
They don't like to be ostracized by the girls in their school. They don't like that because we're typically more social creatures. And that social bond helps validate who we are. We come to know who we are through those bonds.
Okay.
So when a mom and her daughter connect, they're going to connect not only as mother and child, but they're going to connect as females. With two females.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if the mother, for instance, starts planting those seeds in her daughter, men are no good. Because if her father's no good, and this is supposed to be the top man, then none of the men they can't be better than him. So they're gonna be worse.
Perfect.
Damn.
So when she gets of an age to date and to do these things, it get passed down. Don't let no man. Don't come back here with a wet behind and an empty purse. They teach you how to hoe. This first thing teach you how to hoe, how to be a hoe. That is teaching you how to hoe.
Damn, that's crazy.
Okay. Not
Wow.
vet a man, and you know what I'm saying. Make sure I raised you to be a wife. Make sure he is prepared to be a husband. Make sure he's prepared to protect you and love you and care for you and all these different things. And don't give your body to him without commitment. Don't give yourself to this man without nothing, not money, but without other things in return for what you've given him that you can't take back. You can't unbounce on it, baby. You can't unbounce on it. Once you done did
Shit
that,
like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Wow.
okay, you can't undo that.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be careful with that. And we're not necessarily taught that in the Black community. We're not really taught that. Later on, we taught, okay, go ahead and get your husband. But initially, we are taught, go out, have some fun. Don't let a man take your body or your time without being paid for it, which is a form of prostitution. And we get that in our heads. And then we do that because why? Our moms and our aunts and the women who have been charged over us, been putting that seed in our head since we was girls.
Yeah. That's crazy. And I can hear it. And you know, when you mention the culture, obviously being your rearing, but you remember how popular Players Club was? And I think the biggest line in that movie, it was from Ronnie when she said, "Use what you got to get what you want." You remember that?
Shit like that. Shit like that.
Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Snuggles with the 2000. DJ Fish Grease is what's Snuggles we talking about? Joker Bed with the $5. What's up? She says Crimson Cure. The embodiment of the adage. Sit with women who are healed. The conversation is different. End quote. Indeed.
I appreciate that.
Beloved with the 2000. She is elegant. I like her.
Thank you.
Aaron with the 2000. Diametrically opposed. Hear that, Hamp? Indeed. That's you usually say that. Walk the talk with the $2. Boneyard equals Section 8 housing project.
To a certain degree.
Lee walk. He always blue collar was popping with the 2000. Salute, Hamp. Crimson dynamic breakdown always on point. Keisha with the $5 says the number one killer of lion clubs are other male lions. Apply the logic across the board. Would you say something to that?
Which cubs do they off? Their own or somebody else's?
Somebody else's.
And what do men say they don't want to do?
Date a baby mother.
Because who's the child belong to?
Another man.
Somebody else. Now he may not gonna off them because we human beings at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But the concept is there. The lion don't want to take care of another lion's seed because I just beat him. His genetics is nothing. If his genetics was better than mine, he'd have beat me and his cubs would live. But they not. So I took his pride and I took those lionesses and I took them cubs and they gonna pay. Because I need my seed to continue, not them. They don't want to do it. So men, human men, do not wish to take care of another man's child, especially without some type of respect or payoff or benefit at minimum to be respected for the sacrifice of having done that. I don't think women understand how men think when it comes to another man's seed, and he got to take care of it.
Damn.
Shiesty Bum with the 2000. The lioness is also the hunter.
Exactly.
Gregory was popping. Oh, what wrong one? Salute. He said, Sherazad Ali in her book, The Black Man's Guide, quote unquote, she spoke about how black women were taught by their mothers to disrespect men. Salute, Gregory. Appreciate the 20 ball.
Come on, I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money. Bullshit. I see you shining, nigga. I can smell a motherfucker with money. Even Ray Charles can see you got money.
Walk the talk with the 2000. Sexy Red reminds them of their own grandmothers. Lil, what's going on with the 20 ball says, salute to Mrs. Crimson Cure. Great conversation. Mac with the $5. What's poppin', Mac? He said, you speak to predominantly men. That's why you sell enhancement pills for men. Isn't it out of order for a woman to be teaching men in a man's space? You want to respond to this or no?
I don't teach men. Men, let me clarify this, because this is a shot that likes to get thrown at me.
Okay.
She's in the men's space teaching me. First of all, that sponsorship for the male pills has been over for like a year or more. Let's get that straight. I don't do that. It was a sponsorship. That was business. There were men channels who were also sponsored to sell that same product, and that sponsorship is over with. So there we go for that. Now, for the, isn't it out of order for a woman to be teaching men in the men's space? I don't teach men in the men's space. I don't teach men at all. If a man can listen to me and learn something about his wife, or learn something about, or he can get something out of what I say, then he can get something out of what I say, right? Because if you are a person who is searching for the truth, do it matter where the truth comes from? Because I got double X chromosomes, I can't speak a truth, and a man can't hear it. Do he got ears? So that's one. Number two, teaching men predominantly come to my channel. I pioneered the female accountability space. Let's start there.
Shit like that.
I pioneered the space where women held women accountable. The reason why there is not a slew of women that listen to the channel in terms of subscribership numbers and things of that nature is because women don't like to be held accountable. If most women agreed with my message and was lionesses, we wouldn't have half the conversations we have in this space at all, because men wouldn't be having the trouble that they having with women in relationships and in the dynamics and the interpersonal interaction between themselves and women to begin with. So if women was listening to that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. My channel doesn't go over where the sprinkles are and the synthetics G's are and these other female content creators, because I don't talk about misandrous topics. I don't talk about how men ain't ish and black men are this and black men are that. Black men have their own issues. They got their own problems. If you listen long enough, if you watch shows like DJ Hampton, where he's got all the men on the panel, you can actually hear what black men go through and some of the issues that they actually have. I let the men address that. My addressing is for the females. Only a few are going to come and actually listen. And that's fine with me, because I get so many women who want coaching from me, who have told me that just by listening, they've saved their marriages that was on the brink of divorce. I had a man yesterday in my chat, put it in my chat and said, your explanation of how women think just saved my marriage, because it made me understand my wife better.
Wow.
Shit like that.
Damn, that's a hell of a response. Damn. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. So Miss Cure, I know you said that Boneyard is unavoidable, right? But let's say a woman comes to a realization that something needs to change, right? When the plaque is no longer fulfilling and they're looking to, let's say, create a portrait, right? To a level. What about like these different journeys that women are going in? Like, let's say the self-love journey, so to speak. Is that real work being put in to get to a place, or what do you think about self-love? Just in general, the things you hear about them working on themselves and things of that nature.
I think that a lot of this stuff has become too sensationalized.
Okay.
The concept itself is okay to have self-love, but the way in which it's demonstrated, the way in which it has manifested itself doesn't seem to me like self-love. It seems more like self-love equal I'm gonna be selfish and not regard other people in my life, the people that are in my life, not even strangers, just the people that are in my life. I'm not really gonna regard them, because if I feel a certain kind of way, then I'm gonna act on those feelings. For women, that's kind of a little bit dangerous because our feelings are mercurial. We go from one to the other thing real quick. And that's fine because that's natural. That's who we are. That's what we are. We have to have some type of control over that. And I always say that no journey really can be had without first the spiritual journey. You have to have a spiritual journey. So I'll talk about the 10 life values, right? And the first of those values is the spiritual value. Your spiritual value, when I say spiritual, I don't mean religion. Okay. So I'm not here to tell somebody what religion they should aspire to or cling to or any of that.
Are you religious? Just real quick.
Am I religious? I would say so. I'm both religious and spiritual.
Okay. Go ahead. My bad.
So your spiritual value is the place where you receive your principles, your moral code, your guide, the things in your life that are unshakable no matter what. Your guiding principles. If you don't have no place where you're getting your guiding principles, you will go where the wind take you, right?
Yes.
So a person has to have, and it's men or women, a person has to have their spiritual value in check in some way. I don't care if you call yourself Christian. I don't care if you call yourself Muslim. I don't care if you call yourself Hebrew Israelite. I don't care what denomination. I don't care how you align that. Yeah. But you need to get that together. That's number one on any journey of self-love, any journey of healing, because your spiritual self, that's where the pain be coming from. That's where bad decisions come from. That's where, just ill behavior and bad thought processes and, all of that comes from some corruption in your spiritual self.
Yeah.
And that needs to be addressed before anything is addressed. Before we even talk about stuff like no body shaming, right? The body positivity thing. Yeah. You can't be positive about your body if you're 400 pounds, beloved, because there's something inside of you that's got you 400 pounds. Because if somebody gave you a choice between your 400-pound body and your ideal weight body in the morning, no work, you just get your body, you're going to choose the other one. So let's not get to a point of delusion. That's my only issue with the self-love and stuff. We can't get to points of delusion. We actually have to do work to get to these places of healing. If you got childhood trauma, you got to address that. You have to address it, because those things that you may have went through, that you may have experienced, that may have jaded you or whatever, has got you making certain decisions now. It's playing out a certain way now in your life, and you're not at the place in your life that you want to be or thought that you would be. You got to go all the way back and heal that, get that together, and then your life will play out the way you want it to.
Perfect.
You know what I'm tight about?
What?
I wish I would have said that first, man. But I didn't think of that shit. God. When you said if you had an option to choose, right? All this, I love my body. If people kept it 100, they're gonna choose that body that's fit and in shape 100%.
Whatever their ideal is that they want to look like. That's what they would choose.
God. Man, oh man, I'm tight. Man, I gotta put that on the clip. I need to put that in this box. Let me ask you this question. Because we argue about this up and down, side to side. Who's the prize? Men or women?
Who's the prize? Men or women?
Yes, ma'am.
Define prize.
Damn.
Because I got an answer, but I just want to hear your definition of prize.
So if I take my anecdotal example, right?
Okay.
So if somebody had to do a bid in my house, right, or had to go to jail, whatever, just the lingo, it would be me, right? That would be the obvious choice, right? It would be me because I'm a man, I have experiences, right, etc. But if you break it down, if I go, everything stops, right? Like the train isn't rolling the same, If she goes, we'll go visit every week and everything will be fine in terms of, the money, everything being maintained, etc. Because of what my offerings. Now, I'm not denying her offerings, but just if I use that anecdotal example, so with everything I bring, including the stereotypical things, provision, protection, it would be me in that instance. Does that make sense? That
makes sense. I just wanted to hear your explanation of prize. Men are the prize, and when women hear that, the reason why there's such controversy to it is because when women hear that, they hear we're nothing. Men are the prize, so that means women are nothing. I have never once ever proposed that women are nothing in relationships and in marriages.
Indeed.
If you are doing your duty as a woman, as a wife, as a mom, then your contribution is never nothing. It's never worthless. It's never useless. It's never poo-poo. It's just not the same as what a man do. It's not and it shouldn't be the same. Just because I bring something different to my marriage with my husband than he brings to his marriage with me, don't mean that what I bring to it don't mean nothing. Because he want it. That's why you marry me.
Yeah.
He want it.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
If a woman's femininity, if her ability to actually submit to good system, order, and structure, to good leadership, if that didn't mean nothing, men wouldn't be having a problem talking about where the wives at, because these women don't be doing that. If it didn't mean nothing,
wow,
they wouldn't want it. Sitting somewhere asking for it, trying to figure out why the women ain't doing it. Right? Yeah. So and I say this on my channel all the time because I don't want no woman listening to me to walk away thinking that her contribution as a woman to her marriage and to her children and to her household and to her family don't mean anything. Just because it might not be as concrete as what men do.
Yeah. 100%, man. And I think that gets lost so much, right? And we use the extreme in who's the prize to properly illustrate points like you just did, right? Everything I can do, right? It's enhanced and supplemented by the things that my wife does, Like there's one thing I may not be able to get to, but if she can get to it, that's one less thing, right? That allows me to reach and do more, So I think that's uberly important to point out, man. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Mac, I read this one, right? Yeah. Mr. Gary S, what's going on? He says with the $5 says, good morning, Hemp and Mrs. Crimson. Salute. TBE was popping with the $2 says, I'm glad you're here to keep you hyenas in line. Rebel Rose with the $5 says, Crimson, in your opinion, What drastic measures men need to take or take back order when it comes to family and divine order between men and women? I'm gonna come, but let me just make sure I read these real quick. Dada, oh, salute. Dada, appreciate you. Wesley, salute for the sticker. And Wesley, you have to ask that at another time, all right? Crims, you want to answer this?
Let's see. What drastic measures men need to take back order when it comes to family and divine order between men and women? That is also in the spiritual value.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And it happens on a personal level. And because it has to happen on a personal level first. Right? Men in their own personal lives need to be ordering themselves from the spiritual to the health, family, appearance, dwelling, and then mobility, education, his profession, his leisure, his wealth. Right? So there are 10 areas, 10 major areas in everybody's life. Everything we do falls in one or more of those categories. Right? So if you getting yourself together, because a lot of people say, I need to get myself together, but they don't know where to start. They don't know how to do that practically. Right? And the 10 life values that I just named off, that I talk about on my channel, is used as a guide stick, a measuring stick to see which part of that we're failing the most, that need the most work. For a lot of people, it's spiritual. Not everybody, but for a lot of people, start at the top, have to start at the top, because the reason why it's number one is because that undergirds how you go about everything else in your life, right? Your spiritual value dictate how you run your family, right? Your spiritual value dictate what kind of job you're gonna get, what type of profession you get. Your spiritual value dictate what you do with your money. Your spiritual value might dictate where you live. Your spiritual value you understand? So these things are in the order that they're in for a reason. The first 5 of them are your internal self. The next 5 of them are your external life, your external things, right? Things that you have in your life, right? Let's put the question back up there because I don't want to derail, because we only got a few more minutes. I don't want to get too far off the. So when we're talking about men and their families, if he gets himself in position to be that man, he has a vision of what he want to do. And listen, vision don't always mean I'm aspiring to be a multimillionaire. It's not always about money. Whatever a man's vision for himself in his life is, right? He needs to get a woman that's gonna be on that page. That's what that means. Get on a man's page, get on his vision. If you don't have a vision, there's nothing for her to get on, right? Because she has to support that. So you get yourself together. There are women who you will not be able to choose because they're in the boneyard, right? We're going back to the boneyard. They're in the boneyard. Start searching in the boneyard for your wife. Okay, go on Pride Rock and get your wife.
Damn.
All right. Let me go to the boneyard, because that's what I do. That's what my channel is really for. I go to the edge of the boneyard and I call the lionesses out of it. The ones that's caught, because I was caught at one point.
Damn.
So he needs to do that personally. His interaction between himself and the women in his life, his mom, his sisters, his aunt, his wife, his daughters, all the women in his life have to see him a certain way. And if they can't see you that way, if you know you got your stuff together and they on some disrespect, long handle spoon, like we say in the South. Long handle spoon.
Indeed.
Shit like that.
And now that's one thing I have said, Miss Crimson, is that men don't have a baseline or a standard for themselves, but then we ask so much from the women that we want around us. And like, the spiritual values in which you hold you accountable. Therefore, when you ask for accountability, there are no excuses.
That's exactly it. A man has to have his only true check and balance is the Most High.
Yeah.
That's his true check and balance. That is who check him, right? That's what checks him. My husband is not checked by me, but he is checked by what Allah and his Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say. He's checked by that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? He's held accountable to that level.
Mm-hmm.
And he accept that accountability. He accept that ceiling. The Most High gave him authority, but it's limited. It's not to supersede the authority of the Most High. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So he accept that. I got my authority over my family and my wife. It only goes so far. I can't overstep certain bounds. And these are not the bounds that my wife put. These are the bounds that God put. So I can overstep that. So once he knows that first of all, that garners so much respect from a woman that's also sound in her spiritual self as well. So that when he do call me to account, like you just said, ain't no excuses because I know he's accountable.
Yeah. Damn, 100%. And I think, you know, when you just said Razul, right? People, sorry for my pronunciation, people may not know, but the first definition is messenger, right? Yeah. And that's key, right? Because to your point, that word is so important because the person who holding them accountable is the Most High, right? Razul letting you know, hey, here's what he said now. You know,
that's the duty. Listen, I'm conveying the message. Do what you want to do with it.
Yep.
I'm just here to tell you what it is.
Yeah, facts. That's why that word is uberly important, man. Damn. Yeah, I think we got like 3 minutes. I think 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes. I was gonna try to drop the link, but they won't have a lot of time for sure. Yeah,
but it'll be interesting to see the conversation after.
Oh yeah,
I'm definitely gonna still be tuned in.
Yeah, Miss Karen, I promise I'm gonna be up here for, I bet you, 4 hours talking to them. So I'm gonna drop the link for them. Man, this was awesome to sit here and listen, to be front and center, to understand, you know, the logic and the value which it brings. Because when I'm listening to it, I don't see a necessary reason to push back on anything, right? Like, even if I disagree with an opinion can still make sense. Not that I disagree. Even when I don't like an opinion, it can still make sense. And probably the reason why I don't like it, because I'm implicated in it. You know, people are so close to an issue that they can't see past the issue itself, right? But it can still be an issue nonetheless, you know? One thing I always say is, you hear somebody say better shit than you, that what you thought of before you got here, go with that. Why can't people do that often? And I'll let you get out of here.
The pride and ego.
Yeah, man.
Won't let us do it.
You know what I say to that?
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
Man, so your link, I put her link in the description. Please go like, share, and definitely subscribe. Turn on your notifications. I've been enlightened. This has been wonderful. And just the delivery, you know, take the context of what she said out of it, how you deliver information, the tone, the diction, the fluidity, all of that needs to be considered by everybody who does what we do in this podcasting space, you know? Ms. Crimson, it's been an honor.
I enjoyed myself. I wish I had more than an hour to give, but I definitely enjoyed this conversation. It gave me a chance to say what I say, because I say what I say on my channel all the time, but other people may not. If you don't listen, you'll miss it, and you'll miss some of the nuances of what I say and just go off of, oh, she don't like women. Oh, she just catered to men all the time. And, you know, they don't understand this is a lot of thought has gone into what I say. I'm not just shooting from the hip just because I like to hear myself talk.
Yeah, 100%. I've actually, last thing, I never heard you even talk. You be talking straight to women every time I've tuned in. You know,
right? You listening?
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Indeed, man. Awesome. I appreciate you. I'm humbled. I'm on cloud 9. You know, this was a good moment, but this might be risky. 100%.
That's awesome. Glad to be a part of it, and thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. Be safe. Do the right thing. I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, everybody. Bye, Hemp.
Later. Damn. Kasim was good.
What's up, Hamp? Callie?
Callie,
you know what?
Put her ass in the back. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Yeah, man. Let me just read. There's only a couple super chats real quick. Love C. Says much respect to DJ Hamp. Salute. And pound TNBR for having the big sis Kendra on the show to share her wisdom. Indeed. This woman has supported and encouraged me during lows and highs. Surpassing the superficial. I am forever grateful. I'm looking forward to a bright future for you both. Hey, C, I appreciate you, man. Your wisdom, your words, and just listening to her, I see how you yourself, along with what she has to say, being so rounded and understanding. Because I don't know, I sometimes feel, and I'm saying it feel on purpose, it feels few and far between at times from men and women, having a perspective that shows empathy and sympathy at the same time.
Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus, you will cover me under the blood. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood that Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up. Put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Lighter, lighter.